Host Big Country.
How you doing today?
Top notch. And we got a lovely guest.
Yes, this is your girl LD Woods, new Focus Family and Youth Consultant in the building.
Exceptional. All right. Let's just jump into shooting the breeze. Kanye West is no longer a billionaire. How we feeling? Not that we felt much about it, but
This is just
You'll be alright.
He'll be
You'll be alright.
He'll be okay. He still got some millions in there.
True.
But this is one of those, don't let your mouth write a check.
I agree.
It's like everybody grandmother, if you got an old school big mama, she told you, don't let your mouth write a check that your butt can't cash.
Very much so.
And you knew what was up. Like, with him saying all these things, like he attacked different people, even though some people feel it's not an attack. But when you are downplaying the community that you were brought up in, then you start downplaying other communities, what do you think is going to happen?
My thing is, with just speaking on the money aspect, right? Mm-hmm. How bold is it to say I can say anti-Semitic things and they won't cancel me? I was like, really? So you just gonna hop on something that YouTube, anybody can pick that footage up, and you gonna say what you that's how you felt. I was like, nah, bro. But also, when it comes to speaking about black people, you consistently, it seemed like every year around this time, you got some crazy to say about black people, and then he hitting us with that R. Kelly. Say something crazy, or in R. Kelly case, do something crazy, then turn right back around, make an album, and everybody supposed to forgive you. I'd be like, yeah.
So do y'all think he's addicted to the controversy? Is that a part of his hype or just?
I'm not.
Honestly, at this point, I can't say because at first I was like, I used to give him a pass because I'm like, yes, if you lose your parent, someone that has been an influential person, you may go a little left field. But it's like he went left field and just kept going. He was like, no, I don't want to turn back.
He ain't going back. My thing is, I just feel like he going through this whole process of trying to people please too heavily. And when I say people please, he obviously
ain't really
not
pleasing a lot of people, not with this.
He ain't trying to please no black people. We know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you wanna shun the people who you climbed. I don't want to say climbed up, but we pretty much lifted you up. Hey, yeah, he's the beat maker. He's the guy who got the fashion sense. He's one of those people.
I'll say the African American, black, however you want to say it, that was his stepping stone because without the actual community, he wouldn't have been known. He went through Rockefeller, then he broke away from Rockefeller. We still supported him. And the issue is, when people keep supporting you, it's like, I understand you saying something you truly believe, but it just seemed like he just, out of blue, just started throwing things out.
Well, I think a lot of his aggression towards black people was based on the Drink Champs interview, right? It's heavily misguided because he's saying, when I was having issues and Kardashian wouldn't let me know where my kids was at this party, none of y'all said anything. Nobody stood up. We was like, because most of the time in our community, we let you handle your home life. I'm not trying to jump in there and, she needs, no, bro. You figure that out and you have to let me know how I can help you when it comes to your home.
Because
for the most part.
If you do it the wrong way, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But in all fairness to him, he probably did feel like his squad let him down. And because he had so many people around him, it was like, okay, here I am now missing my kids. I have this going on. Where are y'all at?
Right.
So we got to give that brother, because he has put a lot of people on. But at the same time, when he was down, like any of us would feel, where y'all at?
Yeah. That's true.
You got to look at it from both angles.
I agree with that. It's just from where most people sit, especially I'm sure like people in his camp and everything, how we look at it is, if that's your girl, potentially at some point was going to be his wife. Well, she actually made the wife.
She was his wife at the time.
She made his wife. It's always a sticky wick because if you decide to go back to her, it don't matter what you said about her to us. We still got to respect her at that level.
Definitely.
So it's like, I don't want to jump out here and say something like, "Oh, she wrong for not letting you see your kids and this, that, and the third," and then
y'all get back together. Now, whatever you told her, she automatically is going to feel that toward me. Like, for example, like this is my brother. I love him to death. I'll do anything for him. But if him and his wife are going through something, unless he comes out and like, bro, I really want your advice, I'm not about to be like, let me jump into your stuff and tell you about it, because that's him and his wife. That's just like, for example, when you go through things with your children, like at some point in time, like my mom has gotten on my nerves. My mom has done some things that I'm like, well, but that's my mother. I love her with all my heart. I'll die for her. Yeah. If I let somebody else say something about her, it's like, how often will you ever let that happen?
No.
Even if we've had our ups and downs. Like, me and my mom is one of my best friends. But there's been some times where we've been a little, real close over there kind of friend. So that's why I say, yes, you got to be cautious about that, because you'll lose. I'd rather lose my friend before I lose my mom.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And I can't being in that situation, like if it is the mom, like, hey, bro, you can't come around me talking negatively about your mom. It's not gonna work. I'm just because at the end of the day, like it's mama too.
Speaking of moms, he didn't have his mom,
right?
You know, and who could he go to talk about those things, or not even talk about those things, but how he was feeling,
right?
You know, because this was this man's kids, you know, and then he's in the spotlight and people judging. People was already hating on their marriage. People was already saying, "Oh, she brought you down. The family brought you down. These people have you acting whack."
Right.
So think about the pride aspect as a man.
Yes.
And then again, his squad not there.
Yeah.
You know, so
I definitely agree with it.
I'm still Team Kanye for the fact that I don't agree with what he said, of course, but at the end of the day, I really believe that as a man and as a black man, somebody needs to wrap their arm around his brother, because you know, it's not about him losing being the billionaire status. He gonna be okay. You know what I mean? He gonna be okay. People cancel you for a minute and then somebody else pick you up the next day.
Yeah,
you know how that go. He'll get $1 million off an interview.
Very true.
You know, Vlad will pay him.
The only thing that
interview.
I think about or worry about is because Kanye also said, like in an interview, he was like, I don't listen to people that are not at my level.
He did say that, yes.
And I'm like, bruh, if I really care for you and want you to do better, but I wasn't at billionaire status. He even stated, he was like, man, why would I listen to somebody that hasn't gotten the accolades that I got, done the things that I got, and is not where I'm at?
Right.
He's like,
maybe
you can't
this may humble him, because again, somebody off the street can speak a word to their brother.
True.
And really help him, you know? So
true.
we'll see how this
I
gonna
believe
play
you
out.
could get knowledge from anyone.
Of course you
whether
can.
it's young, old,
Definitely.
no matter who it is. But if you're not willing to take that advice,
it's kind of difficult.
Yes.
Because one, you definitely don't want a room full of yes men, because all that becomes an echo chamber. In his situation, I don't know if his circle was as solid as, you know, they portrayed back in the Rockefeller days.
Probably not. If he where he at now,
right,
probably had some crack somewhere and it just got bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, that being said, I don't know. I just feel like, hey, like you said, your mama not here, so you ain't got nobody to really bounce these ideas off. You can't put yourself too vulnerable around the people you with.
Right.
And it just left you in a situation where you one man with one mind trying to make judgments and decisions that take a group, a conglomerate to make.
Yeah, and the whole world watching and judging and having opinions. I mean, we talking about it now, you know. It's not, this is just shedding more light on mental health. Because I really believe when his mom passed away the way she did,
I know
it took a lot out of him.
Yeah.
You know, it took a lot out of him, just on a personal level. Take the celebrity status away.
Yeah.
That was really, you know, that was big.
And I would never wish that on any person, especially the way it happened.
Of course.
It's like, we can't say she got sick or things like this. It was the way it happened. It was like, this could have been avoided.
Definitely.
And then he probably was like, I blame myself because
he probably paid for it. And
if I had never reached this level, I was
definitely.
still.
So we have to take all that into consideration.
Right.
We do. Yeah.
Still.
Like his song "Hey Mama," it was a song on late registration that he did that I still play for my mom till this day,
Yeah.
and that was like 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. But I still play that song because it's like it was a tribute to his mom. That what if you look at his documentaries or anything he did was a huge driving force in his life.
Right.
And I know that affected him. Now I want him to get help to deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
I just feel like, because we all know Kanye West has this ability to bounce back, right?
Oh,
That's
definitely.
he does that. He's an interesting personality, and he has a very creative mind. That being said, do I feel like he'll be able to pull himself back up in the ranks? Billionaire status, probably not, being that you lost to Def Jam, Adidas, Balenciaga, various other you also got to get loans from banks. So losing all those, do I feel like, because billionaire status come from connections, like, hey, you got to put, I need you
to sustain that billionaire status, you have to have those connections.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So, well, do I think he'll reach that status again? I don't want to put doubt on the man, but the likelihood is very low. Will he maintain where he is? Yeah. Because all you got to do is sit silent and make beats in the background. You'll be just fine. Production, yeah.
Hey, royalties off the songs he already have out
already
there.
got out there, so he'll be fine financially. His kids going to be good. He going to be good.
Mentally is where he really need that.
That's
now,
help.
One thing that I did have an issue with, just real quick, why did everybody have an issue when he said something about the Jewish community, but they didn't have an issue when he said something about the black community?
Well, you got to also take into account what each community has.
Yeah.
So, whereas, just like Mayweather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? I forgot what this company was. It Louis? It wasn't Louis. Gucci come out with the thing, and they give a whole, we disconnected it. But he like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm an independent thinker. It's a lot of the black community don't really operate as a community.
Right.
So, if we really felt like, what he said was just out of line and we backed away and we just collectively, hey, we going to pull our dollars out and you can keep them, do what you're going to do. But it's you talking to, and I'm not talking about the Jews, I'm talking about the billionaires, the millionaires, the people who making moves in that arena. Mm-hmm. When you start talking crazy about them, and then they got to remember, I got connections and partners that do this, and the third, and I can't be aligned with that. Because that'll put me in a position where now I got to answer to them, well, why are you still kicking it with him? If he feel this way about me, do you feel this way about me? It's just when it comes down to the consequences of us being upset, you upset that group of black people, but there's more black people who don't care nothing about that.
So affecting him, impacting the Jewish community has more weight.
Because it's just like, hey, you can't. You talked about banks. You said these remarks, and then right in the same breath said, and Adidas won't do this because I did this because I do this for them. Basically, he's saying I put my relationship up against any relationship that Adidas has with Jews. And then we also take it to the account the background information about Adidas, being that it was a German company during the Nazi era, founded by some Nazis for the most part, a little bit, you feel me? So they've already went through the process of, we was wrong. We didn't mean to do that. That's not true. Cleaned up their whole situation. We sell clothes. We don't believe in that. Everybody is, into the open like, hey, this is how I can say this and they won't do nothing. Whoa, wait, what you mean? Right. We've already battled and slayed our demons. Like, all that's in the past for us. Like, that's not what our company is about. That's not what represents us. No. And you gonna come out and say it, and like you somehow gonna switch it just because you make 68% of the market share online for us.
Well, no. There you go. That number, that's a pretty big number.
That's a big number,
but a huge number. But in his mind, 60, say what you gonna do.
They know what we gonna do because at the end of the day,
because
Adidas own the factories. I own the designs.
I heard them say, I don't know how true it is. They said they were still going to keep selling.
Why not? But we learned how that operates through Prince, right?
Yeah.
When Prince came back out, what did he call himself? The artist, formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the record label own Prince. They own that title. They own that.
Yeah.
Free and clear. But I am the artist because on the contract, that's how they refer to you from what they say. Hey, you're the artist. So, yeah, I'm the artist formerly known as Prince. Yeah. And he's just saying, how much weight does that name carry without me? The shoes, on the other hand, hey, the shoes still gonna carry weight. I hear they're very comfortable. I don't own a pair myself.
Me neither.
But I hear they're extremely comfortable. So, and then also, we all know how designers work. Hey, these ain't the Yeezys per se, but they built the exact same way with a different color scheme brought to you by this designer. It's ways around that. And get this off the percentage of the sales, he might be like, cool. And move on. So, nah.
So the disassociation is not totally. It's still some background
you have
stuff.
to, because at the end of the day, there is something about being a creative.
Yeah.
You put the energy out, you put the idea out, you still gonna get funded off the ideas you present. So they can't 100% cut him out of what he's already earned or what he's due to earn. But I can sever that relationship and let you know I don't view you as a business partner to me. You'll be a guy who gets his royalty check and you can't speak on our name because we don't rock that way. Leader said we cutting ties, period. One day. Is it true that people do not change until staying the same is more painful than changing?
Would you like to start?
Yeah. So is it true? I definitely think that it is true, but it also depends on what has to happen and how many times it has to happen. You know, you was talking about the old sayings that the old fire, but pain, a certain amount of pain definitely should make you want to say, hey, you know, I need to try to switch some things up.
Right.
You know, and that comes with maturity. And again, that just comes with just going through enough to like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't do that no more.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I look
what
at
you
it.
think?
So, in an ideal world, people should be consistently on a journey to self-improvement. So, you don't necessarily have to change, but you see either how it affects somebody else, how it what their perception of you is, and you kind of tailor your situation to that. Right. But we also know that, hey, benefit costs. Like, hey, if it's beneficial for me to just act the way I act and do what I do, and yeah, you might be a little bit upset, but I know you're not going nowhere. That comfort zone is real.
Okay, so you're talking about in relationships or just in any type of situation?
It could be in any situation.
Okay. It could be in any situation, but when it comes to relationships, more so that second statement is in relation. Hey, it might irk you a little bit, but will you leave me because of the guy who keeps borrowing your car, not picking you up on time? Like,
but then when you wreck it, that's a whole nother situation.
Now, it's your car. Oh, well, you wrecked my car. Girl, that's your car. Now, okay. So, because the pain of us both walking is enough to force.
Well, he probably wouldn't be walking. He'd probably be driving somebody else's car. You might be walking. But.
And now it'll cause you to change. You'll probably, hopefully look for somebody who got their own. But regardless, if he decides to stick it out with you and not go and find an alternative, more easily accessible car, then hopefully you'll be like, well, I really care about this person. I don't want to hurt this person that way. I did miss her car. Let me do the right thing and try to come up with something to get us both back. You would hope. But like I said, comfort is real. Comfort hurts, in my opinion, comfort hurts more relationships than anything.
Yes.
I agree.
Because for me, a lot of people are that old saying, ignorance is bliss. As long as I don't know how bad you're doing it or what you're doing out there, that's like, for example, some people have the mindset of, as long as I don't know about you cheating, it doesn't hurt me because it doesn't affect home. But that depends on the person. Now, when it gets out here in the public, then we took it to a whole grander scale.
Right.
It's a big issue. When it comes to families have so many things that they hide under until it gets so big that now people are tripping over it.
Right.
Now it becomes an issue. It's like that old saying, oh, don't say this. Whatever goes on in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
But then when it starts building up so high that it starts spilling outside of the house, now everybody has to pay attention because it's brought to the light.
Right.
If you go biblically, whatever's done in the dark comes to the light. Like, a lot of people don't seem to understand until it gets to that point where it's way too big for you to cover up now. Yeah. Now you're trying to figure out, what can I do? How can I fix this? Is there anything I could do? Like with Kanye's thing, when with little things, nobody really was like, oh, well, it's okay. But then it started getting bigger and bigger. And now it's like people are paying more attention.
Right.
So to me, yes, this saying is true. I don't believe people change until it starts getting hard enough where it's like, man, I have no choice but to come out and deal with this now.
Yeah.
Right. I liken it to, if we got a play going on, and before we get on stage, everybody's supposed to rehearse their lines, right?
Right, yeah.
So we all supposed to be rehearsing our lines. I know my lines. You know your lines. You somewhat know your lines. We get on stage. Everything is perfectly fine until we get to that line you don't know.
Yeah.
And now we on the world's watching.
Yeah.
That's job where he talks. So whatever Kanye West said on that interview was bad enough for them to be like, nah, we gonna pull that.
Yeah.
Right? They never made it to the stage.
Yeah.
Or it did make it to the stage. When it come to your relationship, because I got to move away from Kanye.
You want to just stay on Kanye?
I cannot.
Yeah.
We gonna let him.
Everything
we gonna
segues
let
to
him heal. We gonna let him heal.
Yeah,
when it comes to your relationship, everything is fine as long as the door closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually, just like pipe with pressure, eventually it's gonna explode. Somebody doing you wrong enough times, you're gonna be like, no, this is where it stops. I got to force change. A chemical reaction is first heat. It's gonna heat up.
And that pressure.
And that pressure gonna bust us. I'm content until we get to this point. Once we got there, now we here. We ain't going back. I told you to switch that. I said switch that. Now, if you don't want to switch that, then I got to do what I got to do in order to either make you switch or switch you. Like, I'm just what it is.
I 100% agree with it.
So, yeah, I just, when you look at it that way, do I feel like there are some people who reach the level of maturity where, yes, if I've noticed that I'm doing wrong and I genuinely just want to be the person either for you or for whatever organization, I genuinely just want to be a better person.
Yes. You should want to.
Ideal world status.
And the key word is maturity.
Maturity.
Maturity, yeah. It's not an overnight thing.
Exactly.
You have to
Very
grow
true.
and progress to that point.
Age doesn't make you mature.
It definitely does
Because
not.
there's a lot of older people that
just having birthdays.
yes.
We just making trips around the sun.
Yeah, just having birthdays.
ain't figuring nothing out. Just doing the exact same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Yeah. Insanity.
Yeah, it's insanity.
Yeah, that's the definition.
So I just, when it comes down to that, I would hope that, you want to be better. But at the same time, if it's not in you, it's not in you. And it ain't going to, and some people, like you said, I got to get burned a few times before I really recognize that the stove is hot. Maybe that stove wasn't hot enough. Throw them inside and be like, I'm going to turn it up. Turn it just a little bit so you can feel this, okay?
At all that heat.
And you need a full body burn. You got to let the juices marinate just a little bit for you. And now you see the stove is hot. I agree. I agree.
Definitely.
Cool Beans, at this point, what would you like to bring forward?
Yes, I think this is a great opener for what I'm here to talk about with you, gentlemen.
Top notch. I'm here
The
for it.
pre-engagement assessment. And and I know we were speaking early before we went on camera about premarital, but I really feel like with couples, with the divorce rate consistently being so high that it is, and just so much shenanigans with relationships all across the board, race, socioeconomic levels, people really need to take a closer look at why do they want to be married.
Agreed.
I 100% agree.
You know, once you get engaged, a lot of times, particularly now with social media, everybody's saying congratulations, everybody's on board. You don't have time to really stop and dig deep into what we're going into. You know, is this going to be forever, or does it just look good to say I'm getting married?
Right.
We doing this thing.
Do you feel like because of the era we in as far as social media, do you feel like when it comes to getting to know the person, the hype of being with the person or potentially reaching the next level of marriage overshadows getting to know that person? So it's like the pressure of staying with you is so great because I don't want to look like a fool.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a pride thing.
Right.
You know, like when he was saying earlier about things going public. If you're going through some things behind the scenes and nobody but you and your partner know, that's one thing. Right. Then when you make it public, and that's why, you know, now they use the term going social media official. A lot of people have announced their relationships on social media. Once you do that, people are going to be looking to see. People checking your posts, people checking to see, okay, they doing this, they doing that. If that starts to slack off, what they going to think?
Well, I've noticed.
They must not be together anymore.
I've noticed
it's trouble in paradise, you know?
Like, I've noticed in the past, I've had friends and family members. As long as people don't know, hey, I could forgive, we can move on. Yeah. But then when you start putting social media into it, like, oh, everybody knows this. Like, I had some friends I was real close to. Like, they went through a messy thing because they started putting stuff on social media. And I'm like, and I was a firm believer, if you won't work things out, that's between you and your spouse. Y'all work it out. Y'all deal with it together. If you can get past it, great. If you can't get past it, we have to see what the next options are going to be. But when you put it out for everyone, now you gotta worry about everyone in your ear. Well, I wouldn't put up with that. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you could find better out there. And with that happening, so many people are like, oh, well, I'll go find better.
All right.
Yeah.
With that being said, social media and the representative, you know what I'm saying? Everybody pretty much got a online representative. Hopefully you got an online representative.
And hopefully it's representing well.
Representing well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you get to a point where the expectation of you is, like you said, hey, I put everything online. So you blurred that line so much, or you and your avatar have blurred the line so much. Now, even when I'm going through what, in my world, social media, my relationship ain't extremely social, and it is not media. It's real life. This is what I really live every day. So I don't put my relationships online. You might get a couple pictures of my daughter and my wife, but we ain't going, you don't know what's going on.
You'll never know what goes on in my household.
Right. I feel like when people, when people start to blur that line, right, and try to say, okay, I'm going to treat my relationship like it's a TV show, and this is something that you should want. I feel like you got to, those people may feel as if they got 100% that. So, okay, this was the roller coaster going up, right? And then we got to this point, and this person messed up, the other shoe fell, and now we on the decline. I'm going to show you the decline too, and that makes it where now.
So that's what a lot of people fail to realize. Like, I mean, it's great if you want to show your relationship on social media, show it. You know, love is good. And I think particularly in the Black community, for our young people, they need to see healthy relationships. Yes. There's no perfect relationship. But once you put it out there, people are going to be looking. People are going to be giving their opinions. And then if your pain goes public, it's on now. It becomes like the whole Kanye thing. Everybody's pulling aside. Everybody. You know, and it just makes it more harder to deal with what you're dealing with, because now you have people don't even know you giving opinions about things. Right. You know? So it's a big thing when you decide to go public with your relationship on social media.
Yeah. True. And I don't feel like it should be that big.
It shouldn't be.
It should, but at the same time, I feel like that speaks highly to the disconnect that we as people in general just have now.
Right.
I'm not finna do that whole blame COVID thing because Facebook was here before
It
COVID.
was.
Twitter, it was all here before. And I wrote about blended families.
Yes.
So do you feel like now on topic to this, when it comes to blended family, do you feel like is there a point where children of a certain age should be brought into the conversation if there are two, potential worlds about to merge?
Yes.
So, because social media is one thing. Those are people you may or may not know or may not deal with, but the people inside your home, the kids who now have opinions of their own.
Yeah, and that's going to be living this life with you all.
Right.
I definitely feel like people need to merge the children into the mix. Because, again, they're putting their lives together involving children. You're adults, but the children really don't have any choice in this, And I want to say this. I think that blended families are great. I know a lot of blended families that you wouldn't know they're blended because they're that tight,
right.
But when you're coming together and you have the other parents and, all that stuff, you have to make sure you talk about certain things.
Right.
And talk about it deeper than the surface level, and iron it all out, even if you have grown children. You have to talk about those things.
So you would say grown children should have
well, even if you have grown children, there's certain aspects of blended families you have to talk about. Let's say someone, a man meets a woman and say he had a house and things settle for his children in their name. So now the wife is coming into the mix. You're going to still keep everything in your grown children. You know what I mean? You have to talk about those things.
Right, that is a conversation.
Okay. So those are conversations that people don't think about, but sometimes grown children can be a little bit more problematic than smaller children because they've been around longer. Right. So that territory has been set with one of those parents. Understood. And now you're bringing this other person in.
And then
how does that mix?
We also got to take into account if you got a blended family, okay, the person that you had the child with prior, so they also potentially most likely know the situations or the arrangements you've already set up with their kids. And then you're going to go back and be like, because you're with this person now, we got to flip it. So now they get less because you want to have more for this person.
It's a lot of components.
It's so,
so
many.
But it can work. It can work. And the whole thing with blended families, I think that people need to realize that it is a family.
Right.
You're just taking individuals, putting them together, it's still a family. So the love has to be there, the respect, and just everybody just coming together to be one.
Okay.
They're very prevalent nowadays.
So my question would be is how would the pre-engagement consultation work?
Okay. So the pre-engagement consultation would be for couples that are thinking about being married, but they want to make sure that they focus on 4 areas that are fundamental for any strong relationship. The first one is foundation. The next one is finances, forever. And then the final one is just being able to be friends. That friendship, that's really important. So many people don't realize that as a really important aspect of a healthy relationship, liking that person. Would you want to be with that person if they weren't your spouse? Like you would hang out with them the way you would your friend, your same sex or whatever friend. So, those are 4 components, and it's just some questions that allow them what family life education is providing information, but also allowing the participants to be a part of the learning process. So it's not counseling, it's not trying to give advice. People are smart enough to know once they're given information, how do I make this work for my situation? Okay. And I think if people can do that, and then go into a premarital situation where they get counseling from either a counselor or their clergy person, if they're involved in church, it could work. But once a lot of people get engaged, it's very difficult to focus on what's important because you're so busy planning the wedding.
Right.
And then in the process of planning the wedding, things come up, financial things, parent things, children things, and all these other problems just continue to compound. You're not going to have it figured out by the wedding, but you definitely need to make sure that you have a solid foundation to start with, in every area.
It may be, it's a little off topic, but when it comes to the wedding, how big does a wedding have? Because I
As
feel
big
like
as people want it to be. Look,
it
hey.
could be an added component of stress because we already talking
is.
finance and then we
Yes.
backdoor and now I'm throwing in so
And a lot of engagements have been broken off because people couldn't plan the wedding. I know people personally that the engagement was, some things came out during the planning of the wedding, financial things, and just one of the things I talk about in the questionnaire is, have you talked about what type of adjustments are going to be made if one of the people were taking care of their parents or doing things with their family? If you're going to combine finances, now you have to look at it like it's our money. So is that person still going to be able to handle their business, taking care of their mom or doing whatever, Those things can get iffy.
Yes, and in the world today, a lot of times you hear about transactional, things being transactional, finance. So how does finance play finance does play a huge role in a marriage, because if the finances are not there, then it's going to cause a lot of stress. And they say, I don't know if it's still the number one, but they were saying for the longest time, finance was the number one reason for the divorce.
Communication, then finances. Yeah. But most of the communication probably has to do with finances.
Finance.
So it's definitely top of the list. And I just think, particularly now, like as I'm getting older, I've experienced some things in the past couple of years where I'm looking at marriage, if that's God's will for me, in a sense of, I don't want to just get married to get married. I want a purpose partner, but I know that it has to be solid. Right. Again, not perfect, but it has to be solid. I know what my issues are. I have a lot of them, so I'm not trying to make it seem like I have to have the perfect type of person. But I actually met someone last year. We're no longer communicating. But a lot of this stuff we discussed. I wasn't like interrogating him, but we had very deep conversations. He was real about some things. I was real. We just wasn't compatible to keep moving forward. But that really showed me that if you stand your ground as a man and a woman and you have standards, you can talk about things with people. And if it worked, fine. If it don't, you just move on. No love lost. But we both definitely had standards.
But that's, like what you're saying is a perfect way of doing things. Yeah. If you don't understand what you want versus what they want, how you know you're compatible? Oh yeah, we may be sexually compatible, but that's not the only aspect of marriage. When a lot of people talk about marriage, they talk about those big moments, but it's the little things that build up into somewhere. It's like, can I handle this? Like me and my wife used to go at it all the time because like how I folded, how I worked things in the house versus how she did things in the house. It was like we wanted the same goal, but the way of getting to that goal, it was like, how are we going to figure this out? Because
and it's those little small things that, they add up.
That's what people, all it takes. Grand Canyon was made by a small river. Small.
Kept on shifting.
It just kept. So,
Yeah.
And people when they see the movies and they be like, oh, I just didn't like how they put the toothbrush. Y'all be thinking that really be a thing. It's like, look.
Yeah, the toothbrush, the toilet paper, I never heard of that. Like, do you pull it from the top or bottom? I heard somebody arguing about that on the show, and I'm like, really?
They do.
I never even,
You be surprised. Me and my the main thing me and my wife got into it over was clothes, because how she used to wash her clothes versus the way I wash my clothes, because I didn't have a lot of things growing up, so I had to make sure, hey, it's going to be perfect. I've gotten better as we've gotten, we've been married for about, 8? Y'all been married now, right?
Yeah, going on now.
Okay.
No, because page is 5. So we going on 7?
No, we at 7.
Okay.
Like
what's
7
going on now?
7 going on 8.
Okay.
So the main thing is that what we used to get into about was because growing up we didn't have a lot. So since we didn't have a lot, what I ended up doing was making sure any and everything I had was always in order, and I became so much of a stickler about my clothes. I had everything in my closet color coordinated. My wife was like, okay, and she hang up a shirt, and now I come get that same shirt. It goes right here. And we go back and forth about all these things. And then I was like, man, I realized the stress that I'm putting on my wife trying to do the things I do. Like I folded my clothes a certain way. They have to be this way. But then in marriage, it's a compromise. If you don't compromise, y'all are not going to make it.
So what I want to know is how do you move past? Because what yours is rooted in is more of a, this was something I had to do. This is what I know, right? It's like, so there's an understanding that you, well, not you, but she has to come to about you. There's, hey, the reason I am this way. And I feel like when you tell people the reasons why you do certain things, they're more accepting of them, like, oh, so that's okay, understood. But at the same time, you get to that point where it's like, well, I understand why you do it that way, but I'm trying to show you now that we don't have to. You don't have to. That's a unnecessary stress on you. Yeah. You can let that go and just go buy another shirt.
Yeah, and that's where we came to a compromise. Was the whole idea was, honestly, one day I just sat back and thought about it, and I was like, am I really? Because I used to call him all the time, like, man, if she mess up another one of my polo shirts. It's gonna get like, this is a $75 shirt. It's like now my little brother look like he can wear it.
Okay.
But I'm like, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, is this real? This shirt, is this right here worth all the things I'm willing to mess up just to prove a point about this shirt? Just to make sure everything is the way I want it? Or can I just go out and get something else? If I don't like it no more, okay, I'll give it to somebody else, or I'll throw it away.
I got a lot of clothes from Germany.
And that goes back to the compatibility. You know, we're laughing, but small things like that can just snowball. And then people be looking at each other like, well, who is this? You know? And just go from there with more everything being bigger than what it really should be. And before you know it, it's just an all-out war.
Understood.
And,
go
go ahead.
All right. Well, I know you said your program isn't necessarily about giving advice, but it's more about the people and having to learn those. Yeah. But if possible, only if possible, are there like some key things that you can just, like some jewels you can just drop on the people for a second to just try to help them? Like, hey, if you do decide to move in that light to where, hey, you met a guy, that guy has a child, you got a child, and y'all trying to merge those worlds, are there some things that, like some tiny jewels you drop to kind of prep them before they reach the program?
Also an educator, I've seen the negative consequences of just family drama and what it has on children, academically, socially. So make sure you realize that it's not just about the two of you, but also, like I said, blended families are families. You're going to become that unit. So have your mind focused on, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. If it's just the two of you, it's one thing. But when you start getting children involved, you get attached to the children, they get attached to you. And then you don't want to be bringing different people around your children. It's a fine line on when should they meet your significant other. If, you met them. Now, if you met the person and the child was already in the picture, but, do you bring somebody around your child at what juncture, and how do you introduce them to your child or children?
Right.
And that's for both sexes, men and women, but just make it work. I love seeing it. I love families,
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, family is one of the things that we need more of, because I've noticed with a lot of people, they don't, like, I know we talk about some bad things from the old school, but some bad things from the old school work. Like, for example, family eating at the table. Like, us having conversation about what we're doing, ideas that we had, shooting things past each other. I think those things should start at home. Like, if I could talk to my spouse and our kids can see us interact with each other, it would be much easier, so they don't grow up thinking, oh, it's going to be my way, that's it. I don't care about nothing else. Like, they should see that conversation between mommy and daddy, between siblings going back and forward, and fathers. Like, one thing that like really got under my skin at one time, because I love mentoring. I love helping young people, trying to get them to move in the right direction. But I was asking this group of girls, do you know that you're beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I think so. I'm like, you don't know?
Yeah, no one's
And
ever
I was
affirmed
like,
them.
and that's the thing that I was like, at home, mommy and daddy should be the main ones telling you how beautiful you are. Because I don't want some little knucklehead. Because I was telling them, in this thing, and I know everybody hates it, the whole game that we play in relationships, going back and forth, courting, sporting, however you want to call it, if you want dating, like this whole thing, is like, if there's a void there, somebody is going to try to prey on that void. Like, oh, there's a void there. I see what you're lacking. I'm going to give you all the things you're lacking. I don't have to mean none of these things. But just because I'm trying to give you what you're lacking, I can break all those defenses down.
Right.
And then when they get to that point, if you decide, oh, I don't want that no more, now you'd messed it up for the next person. Because now they're automatically on guard because this person beforehand played that same game. So how do I know if you're sincere or if you're playing that same game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's like having an enemy at the gate. Because one, like you said, when you're sitting at the table, you're supposed to be fortifying your forces. You know what I'm saying? That's what we built in our community. So I'm sitting at the table with you, we talking like you said, boom, 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 we built that up. So now you got your center core. Before you build your circle, you got your core right.
Yeah.
You know what this is what mama do, this is what dad do, this is how my brother act, this is how my sister act, like full circle. Then when you start adding those additional layers of people, it's not you're not adding them because you're lacking something. You're adding them because, hey, I genuinely just like you around. Like, I'm not looking to get nothing from you. If I do, then that's fine. But if I don't, then don't worry. I'm not in a deficit over here from any emotional aspect.
I like that word deficit. Yeah.
Right. I'm not. So, yeah, I don't have any enemies at the gate. Ain't nobody, like you said, can walk over here tell me that they love me, and now instantly I open the gate.
Yes.
And now you can destroy my entire world. And in your words, it's nothing because, hey, I just told you what you wanted to hear. Somebody didn't say it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no deficiency, no lacks.
And that's why I think it's important for people, we're talking about social media and putting your relationships out there. I don't like when people say that everybody relationship on social media is fake, because it's not. There are people that have really good, healthy relationships, and it's their platform. They have a right to showcase that. But at the same time, we need to make sure we're showing our young people, as far as us being real people, what real relationships look like. Because you know what they're idolizing? Celebrities.
Yes.
Right.
And we know how they switching up with partners and just all the shenanigans they're going through. Yeah. So they're looking at those things. And working on a high school level, I've just experienced so much with young people. I mean, it's not puppy love anymore. It's like full-fledged married drama with 16 to 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell them that they break up not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just leading to a lot of dysfunction. Yeah, it's leading to a lot of dysfunction as they get older and get in more relationships. So as adults, we need to definitely be a good example for them, but also let them know the trials and tribulations we've been through.
Understood.
You got to know when to share and how to share it, of course. But we have to set a good example for them, like you said, and affirm our young people.
Yes,
our queens and our kings.
I mean,
we have to
should
affirm them.
Always be doing that. I know a lot of times people are like, man, he either joke a lot or he's always like poking at somebody, because I like to tease people. But when it comes down to it, I'm like, I'd rather have all of us in the mindset where we're all happy, where you know what's going on. Because one of the things that it saddens me to see sometimes when I hear people fall into traps that I've seen other people fall into. I'm like, don't be that person. I know when I was in school, I knew people that behind some girl, they got caught up. It was like, oh, I'm going to show out in front of these girls. I'm fighting people. You in situations you can't handle.
Right.
And then I know girls that have been caught up behind some young boys and things like that because they never learned those things at home where it should have started.
Right.
And I'm like, I wish, and yes, if mom and dad knew those things, because they're still trying to learn themselves.
Right. That's kind of
that's the big thing.
That young parenthood
Mm-hmm.
is kind of because you're still emotionally raw. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you might have had some deficits. So it's trying to, when you start talking about teenagers moving into that whole situation, like, hey, I'm about to get into my first relationship, because first is big. It's like being the rookie playing your first game. It's like I'm, and only thing different about this one is you never really had that true practice. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like taking your daughter out and showing her how, hey, this is how the guys you're supposed to deal with should operate on a date. Mm-hmm. Like, it should be just a good time. It shouldn't be any pressure to do anything additional. Just you in the space, I'm in the space, we having a good time. That's it. We having a conversation.
But who's taking the young men and showing them how to treat the men that have daughters and doing that? You know what I mean? It has to be a balance.
Yes,
I remember teaching fourth grade, and all of the girls in my class, they were just, it sounds weird to say, but they were so strong in the mind. You give them directions to do something. If I say go to the office to do, they would go and do it like this. The boys, they would come back like, what did you say, Ms. Woods? So they were already years ahead of maturity-wise, of just knowing how to do things.
Like, one of the things where I've shown young boys is, hey, chivalry shouldn't be dead. You should actually do things just out of kindness of your heart. Hey, open that door. What's wrong with opening the door? It's not going to hurt you to open the door.
Right.
Oh, if you see somebody in need, why not help out? Because if you would want somebody to do the same for you, if you're in need, you would expect or hope someone would help you. Right. So it's like a coin. We got, like, whichever way it flips, either you helping me or I'm helping you.
Right.
Like, but in today's society, it seems like we're pushed into everybody for themselves. Like, I'm going to get what I want no matter what. And then that makes, in turn, other people be like, okay, you going to get what you want. I'm at least going to get what I want. Instead of working with each other to, hey, we could figure out if I want these things from you, you want these things from me. Hey, if we could work together to build a home, like, we still in this whole, I'm getting whatever I want. You're going to get whatever you want. And then it becomes transactional. It's like, if you ain't giving me exactly what I want and what I asked for, I have no need for you.
Part of me feels like there's a major, like, you were talking about girls at a young age already displaying these high levels of independence. Like, hey, go do this, go do that.
I didn't want to say independence, but
understood.
Strength and independence. And that's weird for a 9-year-old.
Right, understood. But I just feel like when it comes to men and how we operate, for the most part, there's such a, like, based from the generations prior to us, mostly, there's a huge disconnect between the generations. It's like, hey, because my dad at one point in his life was building buildings on roofs, so it's not like I could just go walk up behind you and be like, all right, Pop, give me the hammer, we gonna be on the skyscraper today. Like, no, child.
But you did see him working, though.
But you understood, like, as a guy, for the most part, you got to pick up on the concepts. Dad goes away, comes back, and everything is okay. Mom, on the other hand, can't necessarily just walk out, then come back, and then go, like, Mama, we need things, and he got to go do something, apparently. What do you do? So, it's like, the role model for young ladies, I feel like, is consistently inside the home. And I understand now it's shifting more towards, I always say, hey, I don't like the term gender roles. If we just take the gender off and understand that we all got roles and they need to be filled in this household, just because it's expected for you to cook don't necessarily mean that I, if I'm a better cook, should not cook. I'm going to just get in the kitchen and whip it up. You feel me? That's not my line. That's his line.
I mean, the gender roles thing is it's definitely shifted. Because now you have men that are getting married at later ages. So they know how to do laundry, cook, take care of home.
They got all that. And if they don't know how, the same way I can go get Uber Eats, I can go get me. I can get anybody I need to fortify my household with the things that I need. Boom.
So they good.
I can give you $1 amount to get that. So, like I said, at a certain point, we have to have a discussion about roles. But going back to what I was saying, as far as why I feel there may be girls developing a lot earlier is because we're still living in the shadow of what used to be, the hyper masculine moments, or if we gonna be honest, the crack era where the fathers was outside the home, and so the role models for those kids, and that's why, hey, if you a guy and you can get into some form of mentor program, some sort of teaching, some sort of this, hey, go do that, because it's important. People have to see men operating in a space to understand how to operate in that space themselves. Whereas girls get that all the time. At a certain point, if we gonna leave the gender roles behind, and it's not that some people don't want to, but eventually, if we gonna have true equality,
should we leave them behind though?
I'm gonna be honest. Certain things I say what's best for you and your household is what you should do. Because I'm not going, don't get me wrong. If we honestly talk about gender roles, it's not a lot of them in my house. But yes, there are certain things that is going to happen. Like, for example, me, if a burglar break in, it's me all day. As a man,
you always
I'm
think about the
get out
chores.
here and we're going to catch this paint. I'm trying to break your neck. Bottom line. Because as the man, that's just me in my house. Now, I don't know what somebody else do in their house, but I'm like, for me, I would never think, oh, we both gonna come. We both gonna do this.
We ain't gonna do
no.
But you know how many men not how many, but there may be some men that think that, or some women that think, I got this. You'd be surprised.
Yes, that is true. That is definitely true in today's time.
I'm not one of those, but yeah.
I would just say is honestly, unless you, I'll look at it like this, and this may sound a little sexist or however you want to call it. Unless you could beat me up, and I do mean fight. I'm not talking about anything. Fight. If you can fight better than me, okay, I'm like, you know what? We could both go handle this. But if you can't,
you marry Layla Ali, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I'm like Ronda Rousey. I'm like, hey, man,
funny.
Lock him up and I'm gonna punch him.
Yeah,
Yes.
all you gotta do is hold him for a second. I know you can get it done.
That's
But
crazy.
for the most part, it's there were certain things that I understand as a man. I need to make sure I do for my family. It's not just because I'm a man, but it's because of the mindset I have as a man. Right. It's I want to make sure my family eats. No matter what. I'm like, if there's one piece of chicken left and it got to be split, hey, split that between y'all three. I have a boy, a girl, and my wife. I'm like, split it between y'all. Daddy'll find a way, somehow. If y'all ain't got no food, I shouldn't even be eating. That's how I look at it, but I'm a little old school when it comes to that.
Right.
But some people may be like, oh, well, we're all going to share. No. Because I am old school. If a man does not work, he does not eat. And if my family's going without, why do I have?
Right.
But that's just my gender roles, I guess you would say. So I'm cool with certain ones, but am I going to say, oh, your job is be in the kitchen? No, I'm a great cook. I love to cook. My wife will tell you I can cook good, but that's just me. My grandmother and my mother have been showing me I can sew. I actually know how to cook. My grandmother was a maid for 25 years. She was getting paid good money just cleaning houses and shining brass. And I'm like, I never looked at her less for that.
Right.
I just hate when people try to make it seem like gender roles, the woman's role is lesser than the man. No, you're just picking up the part where I'm not good at, and I'm picking up the part you may not be good at. However, we can make this house whole. That's how I look at it.
I just look at it because a large portion of the gender roles came out because it was a point in our history where women couldn't get the same jobs as men. It just it just is what it is. So if I'm better equipped to go out and do that, then I'm gonna go do that because hey, the more money we can get, the more food we can eat. It's simple. These days, hey, anybody can make pretty much in America anyway. Anybody can make any denomination of money. Like, we can have as much money as we choose to have, as long as we're willing to work to have it. You know, so I feel like that position in the man's world has been challenged, and I'm not saying, and I probably, it has been put into question. I'm not gonna say challenge because I don't want to seem like, oh, you should be at odds. It should be, hey, it's a question. Is it this denied? Because hey, black women right now, highly educated, graduation, all, like, they're doing that. So based on that alone, hey, yeah, if you can go out, get you a job to be this or that or this or that, and I know what I can do, yeah, but at the same time, yours is clean, consistent money.
Yeah.
Maybe you're more equipped in that world. Granted, I do believe that in America anyway, it's a 2-income house. So like, it's very difficult to survive out here on one income.
We had one guest on where she was talking about her friend that was a doctor making $300,000 more than the husband. I'm like, baby, you making $300,000? You know what? I'll find some more roles to fix.
To feel that.
It's okay.
I'm going to see, that's when you take the gender off the road. You make $300,000 more, no gender. That's the role. We need a provider.
Yeah.
Okay.
You make that.
You go provide that. I'm gonna go figure out exactly what these kids need, and I'm gonna go tackle that. Cause that's handled.
PTA meetings, I'll be at every last one of them.
I got you. Like, hey, I'm out here.
I don't look at it as I can't do something, because I'm like, everybody should be able to do something in the household to make the household run great. Now, if you tackled the finance, like if you Oprah money, what is me coming in with $60,000-$70,000 gonna do for you?
That's just that, like you said, it's just that little guy.
So is it roles or is it responsibilities? Because a lot of what y'all talking about seem like responsibilities, which again can differ based on people's economic situation and how you want to run your household.
Right.
You know.
So I guess I would call it.
It's kind of like responsibilities. But
yes, I would agree. We all have those responsibilities. We need to make sure these things are taken care of. So as long as they're taken care of, however they're taken care of, as long as I'm not disrespecting you and you're not disrespecting me. I know some dudes try to throw things out because, not all, but there are some women that are, because you're making this money, you're throwing it. But then there's some men that, because you're making the money, oh, I'm going to throw it out there, I'm making the money. I don't care. Let's get this done. Let's take care of home.
Do you feel like, because like I said, for so long, women had to take the back seat when it came to finance due to the history of the land we live on. Yeah. And like you said, a lot of men was out there, hey, whatever the issue is, it don't matter. I'm going to throw money at it. Because I'm bringing home bacon, I'm bringing home money, you can't complain. Right? So now, all those women who were put in that subordinate role without, like, against their will, because, hey, the law told me I can't do this. Nobody, I never said that I could.
Right. Yeah. Or that I didn't want to.
Or that I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I got put there against my will, and now I'm sitting in that seat, and you mean to tell me you don't want me to act like you would have acted? And I understand that a lot of us, it's not necessarily us. We didn't physically do it. But at the same time, those little girls are watching their father do that. And now they like, oh, so like I said, that's why I feel like you got to have representatives as far as men. Like, you got to have that presence, because in her mind, the only guy I ever saw was my father. And I only saw him for a brief moment in time, and he left money, did what he did, and he's gone. So that's my representative. The little boy got that same situation. So as long as I come and bring some money home, I ain't really got to do much. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now the role of the man is shrouded in mystery. That's why I feel like everybody's trying to decode it so much. It's trying to be like, well, we all know what men do. Why? Because we sat back and we studied it so long because nobody knew. Yeah. When it came to it, we pretty much knew, hey, I was hungry. They brought a plate. They must be cooks. my clothes was wrinkled. Now they not. And she the only person over there. I know what she do. What did dad do? Well, he brought the iron.
Yeah.
Done deal. You see what I'm saying? That's how we get that mix up.
The only thing I would always say is you must adapt. Those who do not adapt become extinct.
True.
Like, if you are still talking about something from the 50s, 60s, like, you also got to remember there's a lot of things now that have changed.
Right.
Like, now we ain't got the big back TVs. We got flat TVs.
Flat TV.
You had to get some muscle behind
Yeah, you
that.
need a couple. You need a couple
Now,
guys.
I got a new TV. Like, my mom got a 60-inch. Okay, you got a 60-inch. Cool, okay.
Cool. Good job.
Yeah. Now, the reason I bring that up now is because, yes, there has to be a change in the way we look at how things are working, because you can't always say, oh, well, I'm this and you're going to be this.
Right.
But it's like, as long as we have the understanding as where you're coming from, I'm coming from. You're going to respect me no matter what. I'm going to respect you no matter what. So whether you bring home way more money than me or whatever, I don't care, because we have that respect. Right. It's because we lose that respect because of certain things. Oh, well, is he making? That's where the whole 6-figure thing came from. Like, oh, well, with 6 figures, he got everything taken care of for some people. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't have to do too much. So you'll respect them more.
My thing is, I feel like that's where relationships went from personal. Relationships should be personal. Yeah. We got a relationship. We got a relationship. When you turn those into media, social media, then we lost. That's how. Okay, you trying to keep it with the Joneses. Yeah. Oh, well, she got a bigger house because her man makes $6K. Like, I mean, well, 6 figures. My bad. Hopefully not 6K.
Yeah. We get it.
Hard times. Hard times.
Hey, what kind of house is it? A doll house?
Yeah, you know, like,
6K.
that's what it is. Barbie and Ken living.
Hey,
but like, so once you start throwing it on the media, now everybody looking in. Oh, well, your TV not big enough. Okay, well, your TV ain't big enough because he don't make enough money. Okay, now everybody I just hate how we allow everybody to influence the decisions you're making in your home. Do I believe relationships have a place online? Yes. You can definitely display your relationship, the positives and negatives, whatever. But don't let those outside people influence your decisions on how you move. You should, like you said,
or who you move with, because that's one of the things I talk about too in the pre-engagement assessment. What's more important, or what's the top priority? Money, love, or acceptance? And all three of those things are intertwined. You know, just money, based on what y'all were talking about. What's the most important thing? Money, the love that you have for that person, or the acceptance, not of each other, but how other people are going to accept you. Right. Because we know some relationship is all about the hype of people looking at them saying #relationship goals. I don't have relationship goals. I can look at couples and admire certain aspects of their relationship from what I see. Right. But I don't live with those people. Yeah. You know? And then I have to see it consistently on the outside, because you can have a good day and then have a lot of bad days. You know?
One good day doesn't make up for all the bad days.
It definitely does not, you know? So, that aspect of making sure that your belief system is important, because there are some people that have really high goals of what they want out of life, and other people like, I'm just good, just being comfortable. Right. And neither one of them are wrong, but you got to make sure that it mesh, because if not, it's not going to work. You know?
100%.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So.
All right. We're going into the You Won't Believe This segment. Okay. This is brought to you by.
So, shout out to my beautiful wife. Love you, baby. Check out her 3 businesses. She has Wasted Desires. You could go wasteddesires.com. It's also on Facebook and it's on Instagram. They have waist beads, thigh chains, anklets, bracelets. They have all those lovely things. No, they do not have the bridal garter belt yet, but honestly, check them out. They're beautiful, I promise. If you look at it, you will like it. You will see something that you love. There's also Traces Like Mine. This is hair care products for black women by a black woman. She actually has tested it all of her things, they actually work for black women's hair. If you know, in a lot of stores, black women, you know, it's hard to find things for your hair texture that actually is meant for you. And then Yanni like mine. If you don't know what Yanni is, please go look it up. I'm trying to be better with the way I say it, but it help it along. It doesn't help itself, but help it along.
All right. Tyler Bailey, Luxury Clothes by Luxury Guy, State of Being. That's my cousin Mike. Call him Wiggly in these game spaces. And D-Mac, he's a barber. Anybody?
Yes. LD Woods, New Focus Family You Consultant. Check out my website, www.newfocus.com, and also on Instagram, NewFocusFYC22. And check me out.
Oh, top notch. All right. Governor Ron DeSantis tells people that it is wrong for people to teach that the U.S. was built on stolen land, and that it is wrong to say if you are white, you are an oppressor, and if you are black, you are the oppressed.
Okay, so with him talking about the U.S., is wrong to say that. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It is factual. Like, there were people here long before you. It was somebody else's land long before it was the United States' land, Great Britain's land, or anything else. A lot of people, what they try to do is wipe away things and say, we're going to start right here. This is how we're going to start. But you do realize, like, Native Americans, over 95% of Native Americans were killed off. Like, the Native Americans we know now, yes, they're full Native American, but there were way more in the United States, North America, South America, until people from over in Europe and Spain came over and they brought over diseases that killed off majority, not a few, majority. Right. And then the ones that they didn't kill off, hey, we're going to stick them on a reservation. You come off this reservation, we're going to take care of you. So what would you call that? That's like, if I've used this with a lot of people as an analogy. That's like me discovering somebody's car in the parking lot. Hey, that's a nice car. I'm going to take your car, and I'm going to give you a reservation in the trunk. And if you got a problem about it, I'm going to kill you.
It's terrible. How I see it is, I get tired of people trying to go back and trying to pass their judgments on the past as if they're like fact and law. Okay, you choose not to believe that that's what happened. Although you know deep down in your heart this is what took place, but you decide that, hey, no, that is not how we gonna teach the world. It's not. Okay, look. The sky isn't blue. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Dirt ain't brown.
Grass ain't green.
There's no such thing as different. All that, I just choose not to believe it. If I went out and started saying that, if I go around holding a green color crayon up and calling it purple, what people gonna call me crazy? They gonna disassociate. So my thing is, yeah, it's okay to have your opinion, man. But when you try to get out here and try to force other people to believe what you want to believe, or tell us that we all wrong for knowing the truth, like, it don't work like that. You can't believe what you believe because I know what you really believe, and I know what you're really trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't be going around like Jewish have anti-Semitic. Like I said, last time I said, we need a term that means anti-black history. There has to be a term for this. Like, if you go out spouting things that are against what actually happened just to soothe your soul, there should be a term that we be like, no, and we got to go cancel you because of that. Like, I got to cancel this person. Why? Because they need to lose the Adidas deals too. Okay? You saying stuff that, stop trying to lessen the pain from the past. Like, accept that it was, accept that it happened, and we gon' move from there. But trying to tell me that it was an illusion. We didn't make all that money off the cotton. We didn't make all that money off the free labor. That's a mirage. Come on, man. It don't Stop.
How you feel?
Oh. Governor Ron DeSantis of the great state of Florida, please stop gaslighting. Happen. And number two, focus on the fact that no one's asking you to admit whether it happened or not. What can we do to make sure that our children know the complete history that involves them? Because that's what it boils down to. You know, oppression is real. It's still happening now.
Right.
So it's gaslighting.
And it irritates me because part of it I could honestly see, but it's like you're instead of saying, okay, I understand this part, and like talking about the whole thing, you just like take little pieces and like, nah, that's not true. That's not true. Let me denounce it by saying these things. It's like, no, tell the whole thing. Because, okay, if you're sitting here telling me that every black little boy is oppressed and every white boy is the oppressor, I would say, no, you are actually wrong for saying that because that's not always true.
True.
But if you sit here and tell me that historically that's not like, oh, that we weren't oppressed for the longest time, it's like all I'm saying is tell the whole story. Don't tell little pieces to make yourself feel better and then be like, oh, well, we talked about it. No, we didn't.
You didn't.
You only talked about what you want to do to make yourself feel better.
Right.
Like, I'm not a big fan on just talking about just critical race theory. But I'm like, I believe in telling the truth. Tell the truth, shame the devil. It's like, if it happened, it happened. Like, okay, we don't have no issue talking about, and the Jewish people and the German people have no issue talking about what happened in the past. Yes, this is a horrible thing that happened. We wish it would never happen. But if you go over to Germany, they're not talking about the Nazis like that. They're like, hey, you know what? Our ancestors, our families, they did those things. Those are wrong. We're not trying to backtrack and say, oh, it never happened. It's like,
they don't want history repeated. But like I just said, because oppression is associated with.
It's like when you want people, like, just tell the truth. That's all I want. I'm like, I don't need no 40 acres in. Mule, you ain't got to give me all that.
Yeah.
Just tell the honest truth.
I would still like the 40 acres.
Yeah,
I mean,
it would be nice.
Maybe 10 to 20 would be fair. Yeah, no 40.
It would be true.
I don't want to lie. You're right. I don't want to mow all that.
Yeah, I want all that, yeah.
But,
but if you give it to me, I'm going to take all 40.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
might
to sell a little bit.
Sell a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey.
but
you
it's
get
just
some
the
of it.
fact that I look at it as we try so hard in America to hide it instead of just dealing with it. It's like if you know somebody's been abused in your family, the worst thing you could do is just sweep it under the rug. We're like, oh, that never happened.
It never happened.
It's like, no, because it happened. It's like, then that person got still deal with those things, and everybody's saying, nah, that ain't happened. You gonna tell nobody that kind of happened. Like, that's horrible.
Right.
It's called surface level living. You want to live on the surface because the deeper you dig, you got to confront some stuff, and it's uncomfortable. You know, it's easy to get in the pool and just look good and chill and just float around. But when you got to get in that water, your hair gonna get messed up and get water in your eyes, water in your ears. You could be a number one swimmer, but you got to get deeper. And because we want to stay on the surface level with everything, relationships, family relationships, education, the way we feel about ourselves at times. Everybody just want to just be surface.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why
until you get into that fire, you have to get thrown in that oven like you was talking about.
Comfort kills.
Yeah, it does.
You can't, if you find yourself too comfortable, shake something. I'm not saying shake it up in a bad way now.
Right.
Because some people be like, had a midlife crisis, go buy a Harley Davidson, never rode life, didn't go crash.
Yeah.
Don't shake it up that deep. But, you find yourself too comfortable, that's problematic.
Yeah, pain is okay. It lets you know something's wrong, you know?
You gotta learn. You gotta
the
like
old
you said,
saying when working out, no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
Like, you have to work out through the pain to get where you want to be.
Right.
But if we keep on saying, right before we get to the part where it's like, oh, we getting somewhere good. No, stop right here.
Yeah, stop that.
It's like, you never get to that point. And that's what our society is doing with, like you said, so many things. It's like, no. We really get into some common ground, some common area. And then right once we get there, no. You're messing up the status quo. And I think I do really think most of that is by design, just to keep people going back and forth. If
complacent and just mediocre.
Yeah, it's about disconnection.
Yeah,
like for ants to be some of the smallest creatures out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They so powerful because they able to. We can all unite for one thing, and we can fix that right now.
One little piece of bread or cookie on the ground, you got 20 ants all trying to carry it away.
Yeah, no split focus. Everybody's doing the same thing. We going there, and we gonna get there.
And let somebody attack an ant colony. There, as one, you will see them all. Like if you, like I know it sounds messed up, but if you ever seen like a cricket or something jump into an ant colony, all of the ants, all of them. There ain't no one saying, "Nah, man, I'm gonna sit this one out or make it." But we gonna get them.
We gonna do this, and that's what it be. The more that we are disconnected from one another, like you said, the more people ain't sitting at their table building that community. Because if you ain't got a community, it's not necessarily that I'm going to come up and try to join you outside in the streets. You don't know how to have them conversations. You don't know how to build those relationships. You don't know. Yeah. It's easy for you to build a company type relationship. Why? Because money is the connection. Yeah. Long as it's green between here and there, I don't care. But when we go back and it's like, there's no money here. It's just the benefit of you and the benefit of me. You knowing me is a good thing. Me knowing you is a good thing. And I'm doing everything in my power to maintain that relationship for us to be good.
So is that transactional in a good way?
I don't want to call it transactional because it's not like my job. I'm just genuinely just doing good on your behalf. It's not like
because if you want anything from it.
If you never do nothing for me, your presence is enough.
How rare is that nowadays? Like
that's it. I'm just happy you here. Right. But vice versa. If you giving off that high level energy like that, it is very difficult for a person who receives that type of love, to receive that type of relationship, not to reciprocate. It will burden a person more to try to help. Yeah. You've been going through your entire life pushing everybody away, and this one person, I can't push them away because I don't have anything that they want. They just here for me. That's it. Long as I exist, we in good standing. If your bank felt, that's what I'm saying. We got to get to a point where sometimes it ain't the money, man. It's just I'm just here to see you doing good today. You doing good? You need something? You good? All right, fam. I'm gonna get out your way. I know you got stuff to do. Moving on, but I'm just checking on you, just seeing what's going on. Yeah. Everything fine?
Just
I'm out the way.
Concern.
Just genuine concern about the next person. And when you're making a move, it's easier to move with a person like that. Why? Because when I ain't have nothing, they didn't want nothing. Now that I got something, they still don't want nothing. Now that I got a lot, they still. Yeah. Buddy, can I reciprocate one time for you? I got this position. If you want it, just on the strength of who you are, you got it, fam. Yeah. It's easy to break bread with family. It's easy to break bread with that community, the real community that you build. Yeah. When you got all these, like I said, when you got that social crust on the outside, and you trying to bring all them in like they the main ingredients to the pie, it's gonna taste bad. You need the filling and the crust. You need it all for it to be a real pie.
Yeah, play your role, know your position, literally.
Simple.
Literally, yeah.
It's that simple.
100% agree.
My bad. I see. I feel like we came to a stopping point. All right. 5 employees at a daycare in Mississippi are arrested for scaring all the children with a scream mask. One of the employees says it is all fun for Halloween.
Right. So I'm going to take this one first. So I worked in the child care system many moons ago. What they did was, it wasn't cool. But I don't think they were being malicious about it. They got arrested for that?
They got arrested, and 4 of them are charged with felony.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different.
I don't know if I'm feeling that. I am a child advocate, and of course, like I said, it wasn't cool what they did, but I know they give, like, people that really harm children less charges than that.
Right.
Some standards should have been set as for what was expected from the parents, because everybody doesn't celebrate Halloween. So I don't know what the daycare put out there, but it was just really bad judgment on their part. But to get felonies for that, I don't know.
That's a little excessive.
Yeah. And I was about to ask a question, but I'm gonna look it up and see. Yeah.
Like, because I was reading it and I was like, don't get me wrong. I was like, don't get me wrong, y'all. They wrong for that because I'm like, they had the little children screaming and stuff like that because they have it on video. And I'm like,
gosh.
okay. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have did that one, especially if you were gonna boo kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, but they were running around with the mask. But I'm like, for you to catch a felony charge, like they were, all 5 of them were arrested, and 4 of them, which I'm still trying to figure out how 4 of them get a felony charge, but 1 of them didn't. So I'm like, okay. And then there was an interview, and one of the girls, when she said it, I was like, it was ignorant that she said it. She was like, man, all year, little Susie been getting on my nerves. Oh, she's the smartest girl, but she can't stop doing this. She does these things. Oh, like she does them maliciously, and the parents don't do anything about it. Which I know with a lot of teachers, they're like, parents aren't as involved as they used to be with children. It's like you want somebody to teach and grow your child, but there's no discipline for your child, so your child gonna do whatever they see. Like, I've heard a little 5-year-old cussing, and I'm like, when I was growing up, 5-year-old, you gonna see his backhand real quick.
That's a different time.
And it didn't matter. It could be mom, dad, auntie, uncle, the neighbor down the street, big mama.
You had community though.
Village. Yeah.
But that's the thing is. But I was like, don't get me wrong. Were they wrong for it? Yes, because I'm like, they're real young. But then I'm like, for you to get that kind of charge, that's too PC for me. That's too, oh my God, we gotta.
That's why I want to kind of know the complexion of what's going on because, and then that was in Mississippi also?
Mississippi, Monroe.
Okay.
How I look.
It's crazy.
Don't get me wrong, like I said. Should it have happened to them kids? Nah, fam. But it did.
It did.
Okay. I know. I don't know them personally in any way, but I know they been at home and something scary and came on the television and they kids sitting in there talking about, can I sleep in your room tonight? Every one of them. 2 years old, all y'all done did it. Do y'all get felony charges for that?
Yeah.
Because you don't want, you have full control. You know, you control your TV. You know what can be watched. We've done the whole thing of giving you the rating system, Y to G to PG. We all know what's on the television. But yet, hey, PG-13. I'm 6 and 7 years old. I'm sitting here watching Jurassic Park. I see a man get eaten on the toilet. Mama, are dinosaurs gonna eat me if I use the restroom? I gotta ask the question. But do I feel like my mom in any way should be put? No.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see the legalities from this,
right?
Because I'm sure that maybe some counseling or something needed for the children. I'm sure the daycare got a lot of deficiencies against them. May have gotten shut down. I mean, you missing 4 or 5 workers. That's a lot of your staff right there. So it's gonna be an interesting story to see how this unfolds, and if those charges are gonna stick as felonies.
I wouldn't see how the charges would stick, but I hate to say it, but I think about the mindset that the parents were like, "Oh, we're gonna sue." I'm willing to bet you.
Oh, you're gonna sue.
It's some lawsuits in there, but it gets to that point that now is like you're trying to sue for everything. People are literally trying to sue for any and everything they could possibly get a hold of. It used to be like, oh, for serious things, yes, you would sue in those cases. But now it's like, nah, let me find something. You scared my child.
Yeah.
And if they have to stay home from work, they're going to sue for their staying home, find another daycare, sue for their tuition back for daycare. It would be on and on and on.
I'm just saying, right here on the... Because all I know is somebody walk up to my door, see a little spider. Now my house infested with spiders. And now I got to get sued because now you scared of my house. I'm like, we don't go over there. They got the spiders. See, at a certain point, we got to...
I hate this. It just sounds wrong when I say it. But come on, when we going to start not raising these kids like like just so soft. I'm not saying soft as in like, oh, you can't teach them emotional things, but come on, you afraid of. You can't be afraid of everything in this world, because this world right now, when you get older, it's scary. Mm-hmm. When you get out on your own.
Oh, you said when you get older, bruh. School shootings in elementaries now. Buddy, the world is already scary. This I'm sorry to tell you, that mask that they was wearing should not scare any child these days.
Yes, I'm like, first of all, when you got a bulletproof backpack,
and you send your child with that, when you got metal detectors at your school, fam, look, we need to revamp and rethink what we consider scary. Yeah. The person who looks like looks like a everyday person could be the scariest thing in your neighborhood.
Why? The kindest looking face, but be scary. You're right.
Scary, because we don't. Wow. I don't know what you're capable of. I know that mask. That's a piece of plastic, dog. The person behind it. The scariest thing about that whole situation to me was when that lady said "Little Susie," because at that point she made it personal. Yeah. It's like
that particular person might have had some malicious intent.
Exactly, it's the intent,
and she did. She did it like you could tell she did, because the way she said it. I don't want to say everything, but the way she said it was like, oh, she been making me mad all year, so I've been wanting to scare her.
So then it's also premeditation, because it's like you're planning. Oh, okay,
and that's different.
So it's it might be a lot more to this that we don't know, and it's definitely going to come out. But like you say, this is a sue happy society. It's a lot of legalities to things, and you just got to watch how you move, particularly with people, children.
Yeah,
like I didn't know this, but you know, if you have a house and somebody walks across your yard or something and trips, fall, hurts themselves, you're liable. I'm like, hold up. You walk across my yard.
You need to put you a no trespass sign up. That's very visible.
But you realize you walked across my yard.
But
and they fell in your yard, so now that's on you.
Now it's on me.
If you put if you put a sign on your door that's visible that says no soliciting, and somebody come knocking your door trying to sell you something, you can sue them. Because hey, I've told you already this is not what I want. You've done that.
Can I put that on my phone for all them little robocalls?
They're supposed to be in took care of that, and they still calling.
Yeah, they still do that.
Yeah.
Man, they just call. It's like, man, how do I get them off my phone?
Just part of it.
And then they got the little robo calls where I'm like, I think it's a plan set up by them. It's like, hey, you don't want us to call you? Get this app.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to get money from the app.
Now they're like, oh, well, your number in the system, so we know who to call. Because you got to prove that our product work. Now, scam caller. If you know it's a scam caller, don't send the call through. That's how I mean. Just don't even tell me, because now you gave me, now I got to push the button. You push the button on your side. It is what it is. But going back to that, I feel like if anybody do get brought up on charges that's anywhere near felony level, I would hope all of it's based solely on the intent of that person. Yeah. Because there's no way you finna tell me I put on a scream mask and run around the room and now instantly 100 houses do that every day, but only difference is you paid for this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. Or you know how your dad used to do when he go buy when he spent the money on the real mask, the one that's real scared, and he just sitting up there and you walk in, he just peek around that corner. I don't want Greg Hunter to come up on no charges for that. Like, I know it was fake.
But you gotta remember, that was old school. Our parents was like, oh, I'm gonna get him.
I paid for this. How about this mask? I'm finna get this. No, so I'm like, no. It's all about the intent. If chasing you around the room with a mask on ain't meant to harm you, scare you, baby. Entertaining, let's be honest about it. It's a little bit.
Yes, and like, okay, I'm gonna just say this last thing. If you're over there and you just scream like and run away, that's funny. Now, if you see the child in the corner just crying and you just keep on going, I'm like,
that's intent.
You going way too far.
You're too far.
Yeah, that video may be a little bit.
To the two most dangerous things we got right now is guns and phones. The phone can put you behind bars, and the phone and the gun can put you in the ground. So the phone puts you, if at all possible, if you need to, one, keep your phone on your hip, but at the same time, use it with caution, because what you record, because I'm sure it's their recording. Somebody sitting there with the phone like, look at this, and you think it's innocent,
and everybody just laughing.
And we all laughing, but now that's incriminating evidence, and you don't want to delete it. You finna throw up on your social media, which is selfsnitch.com.
Yeah.
And you know.
So I like that. So they posted it?
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure
if I got the
it's somebody videotaping it, but I don't know who's videotaping.
That
and
might
they
be
laughing
the
about
person.
it.
But you see, that goes to the fact that maybe they didn't think it was wrong because but then there are people that post things and don't realize that it's criminal.
In America, they post
decapitations,
Yeah,
everything.
Man, we a little wild with the camera. It's like we got hold of some technology that we probably shouldn't have had. This is either way.
Yeah.
Anybody else y'all want to shout out before we get up out of here?
I just want to shout out the two of you. Thank you for having me on Something for the People podcast. Y'all are doing amazing things, and I definitely would like to come back sometime soon.
Yes, feel free. Feel
Yes.
free.
Yes.
Like, honestly, it was a pleasure having you on. We're glad you came. We're always trying to learn, gain, and elevate to the next level.
And anytime you got some quality information like you got with this, because the purpose of this is to make better relationships. And if you giving information, especially the jewels you drop, tell these people, this is how we can do, this is how we can make it better. Because there's enough media on the other side telling people how to get it wrong.
Right.
If we got people who's willing to tell us how to get it right, that's what we need.
Right. And we want everybody to understand, when you come on here, yes, we crack a lot of jokes because we like having fun with what we do. But we're trying to actually gain more understanding, work on this thing. We're not, people really think this is what certain people think, or what men think, or what women think. That's why we'll have women come on. Hey, tell me the honest truth. Don't give me no representatives. Don't
say what you feel.
Sugarcoat it. Tell me exactly what you're talking about.
Well,
And
I try
vice
to
versa.
keep it genuinely real because I am real. And everybody say they're real, but I wanted to keep it real.
I appreciate that.
And real recognize real. So thank you again for the platform.
Anytime.
Yes.
This has been another episode of Something for the People.
Y'all be easy.
Hold it down.
Out.
All right.
How long was that?
1:30.